So we've got someone addressing the ball carrier, coming with a head full of steam, looking to cause damage, want to be able to now go from accelerating to that point of attack to start quickening our feet. It's not that we're tiptoeing, don't get me wrong. We're still progressing, we're still staying true to our leverage, but we want to get into what we call a position of purpose. Pop. Whether that's a funnel play and we're looking to tear the guy's head off, or an open field, we've got to get them down. The position of purpose is the same. Here's the neat thing about it. It's a natural stance for everyone. It's the athletic position. Knees bent, weight slightly on the balls of the feet, but we've got our body over itself. The shoulders are over the knees over the toes. The position we teach them from the first day they learn to squat, the first time they learn to get in a stance. This position of purpose is the same for every sport. It's why having athletes play basketball, lacrosse, track, wrestling. They're learning a position of purpose. How we equate it now to tackling just comes down to where we put our eyes and then what our feet do. How we use another acronym, P to P, for our eyes. Now, I've always heard belt buckle, and I like that. I think it's better, especially when we start going from, here's a guy in the open field, it's a screen or it's special teams, and I'm able then, as I get closer, from looking at the blocking, feeling the angles, feeling where the pressure is and isn't, I start looking at that athlete, that ball carrier, pads to pelvis. Now, in the locker room or a field, you can call it something else for the second P, but you get the idea. Pads to pelvis is a big target. You'll see why that's important, especially as we look to make impact on a big target. The belt buckle's great, but you know, we all got good at tackling. You get so many reps, about 10 years of tackling, you can get good. I don't know if we can realistically ask a 14-year-old to hit the belt buckle every time. I'd rather give him a bigger target to hit, a broadside of a barn, or at least close to it, so he can make impact with the important part, and we will get to the impact part. The only difference here, we have accelerate, quickening, deep trap guys. I think you kind of get where I'm coming from with this. The feet do a different thing. When we accelerate, the stride's big, right? The feet are relatively close. I'm not saying we're on a line here, but they're underneath our hips. When we start quickening, what happens to our feet? The stride shortens considerably so. The stance starts widening. So this evolution starts happening as the athlete comes to balance, looking to make a play here. And like I've said, if you can touch a guy 2 hands below the waist, you've really increased your chances of making a tackle. And this guy does a great job at demonstrating that. Closing the distance. All right, great job closing the distance. He loses his leverage, not necessarily because of the angle he was at, but he didn't get himself in a position of purpose, unless he's sliding to the second. Okay? He lost the position of purpose for what he's looking to do here, and now he had a great angle and it's gone. So it really wouldn't be how he closed on the ball. It really has more to do with what happened to his feet once the first pitch came out. All right, he got to the party, just didn't have his party hat on. Watch that. All right, here's an in-season drill. Again, the guy's aggressive. You gotta love it, right? He's trying to tackle this big hog of a fullback, 260, rolling thunder, coming down on him. And I think he does a great job closing the distance. He even keeps his leverage, sorry. Can't stand here. But now those feet on contact, that's what loses his leverage there. He didn't transition from accelerating to quickening. Here's a guy that did. All right, now this is a big old backer. There's a war daddy of an inside backer here. But he makes his play purely on his feet. He even snaps the neck there a little bit. Did he gather with his arms? No. Well, now you're saying that's, yeah, he's a big dude. He doesn't have to. But he purely wins on his feet here. Watch how quick they get as he buzzes and engages off the block. It's all with his feet. They never stop. The little guys can do it too. The feet get quick. You see, he gave himself a chance to square his pads up by the work he did with his feet. And he maintained his leverage. Sideline will help me. Stay inside, quick, quick, quick. I don't need to tackle him to the ground. I got good work out of that throw. All right, keep moving forward. Now the collision part. This is, I guess, the funnest part of tackling to a large degree, other than getting the job done. This is what keeps people coming back from more, what gets guys addicted to playing defense, right? These contacts are going to come. We're going to get plenty of them in scrimmage. And I'm not saying, guys, that doing these drills affords you not to have to do live scrimmage in August, or not to have that seasoning throughout a season, especially with high school kids. I'm just saying it might give you an opportunity to do some other stuff in addition to that's safer. And God willing, if the kids are abiding by it and they're working hard, wouldn't it be great to get game speed tempo Thursday afternoon without having to lay wood to guys and put people on the ground, thereby reducing your injuries and still keeping a speed of the game? Boy, if you could do that with just pads and shells, it's faster than the game. It's a possibility, but it kind of has to start now with these habits. This position of purpose, here's where guys know what it's like when they've made a big impact, right? And now they try to mimic that each and every time. On a blindside shot, an athlete will be immediately reinforced because he'll nail someone, the helmet could come off, the head snap, everyone go ooh and ah. He has just been hardwired that that's how you hit. And he may or may not have done it right, okay? He may or may not have done it right, but one thing for certain that happened, he either dove and he got to use the full extension of his body, or his feet were completely anchored, just like a heavyweight fighter, and bam, he 6-inch punched that guy, and it felt like he hit a golf ball a mile, hit the sweet spot. We all know what that's like, whether it's golf, football, punching someone, hopefully not lately, but that idea of when you really get to strike someone and it's effortless, that's what we want. For that split second, the feet are anchored. Just so you guys know, that's what's occurring. The best way to teach it to avoid that first mistake tackle or deer in headlights, his feet stop, is just to teach the feet to go wild. But realize on that point of impact, you'll always see for that split second, boom, just like a boxer throwing a hook. Both feet were anchored in the ground, just like a golfer striking the ball. Both feet were on the ground when they did it. Same thing with a football player. When they make their biggest impact, both feet are anchored. Just be careful that kids get reinforced with drills that don't integrate necessarily the complete style of play that happens when you are playing real football, or what happens when a kid blindsides someone and then get away with their feet down in pre or post. Just enough on that. Triple extension, hips, knees, ankles. This is that explosive feeling. Kids get it naturally when they dive. You can do it also with your feet planted on the ground. It just has to be practiced that way. When I first did and started laying this stuff out about 4 years ago, just started making notes, laying it all down. I wanted to bring, all of you got something neat that you want to share. I had to hold back on this. 101 is really about the eyes and feet. 202 is going to be about this. Really about hitting someone and doing it effectively and safely. The 6-inch punch made famous by the 70s Steelers. There's a way to teach that. We can start laying a foundation now, but really that's what that's all about. From a purely physiological side, what your hips, knees, and ankles do as you time them up. But that's, like I said, for 202.